as a data company, Farmobile is all about helping farmers experience the power and value of real-time data, and that's really the value prop of Farmobile and the power of it. As instead of looking at data in the rearview mirror, we're literally watching it as it happens. And here with me today is CEO Jason Taji, and also Jeff Pio from our support side, to discuss the Farmobile Index and the value it brings to farmers. So let's talk about it. So Jeff, last fall, Farmobile had their first really trial run or beta test of the index with growers. And what do you think they learned from that? What was some of the feedback from that experience? And why do farmers need a product like the Farmobile Index?
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, the great question. I think whenever we went into the initial idea of what is the value that this is going to present over to our customers, we really kind of went into it with the initial point of understanding, well, let's release this and kind of give it as an opportunity to listen back to our customers. So we started off with just a smaller engaged group, so that way we can run some initial phone calls out, ask them what they thought about the harvest index, and just kind of see what they thought about it. It really was the first time that we had ever had an aggregation of data like that at that level, to where we could be able to see and present to our customers how the crop was coming out of the field, what the 2019 harvest was looking like from a state perspective. And I think it really started to click back with us whenever we started having these conversations with customers, and whenever they started looking at the data and then creating their own either graphs or notes after it, if they're comparing it with the USDA, or if they were tracking it from week to week. And I think that really started to help us identify what should this product be in the future. And I think that's where we've taken a lot of learning from the 2019 harvest index and put that in with our product team to better understand what should the 2020 spring index be as well too. And so I think it's created a lot of value, and that was just on a short scale with our with a smaller customer base. So really pretty excited to see how our customers are going to keep us posted throughout this spring season, and even understand what additional products can come.
One of the things, obviously, JT, as far as one of the comparisons last year of that index being put in front of them, they were also seeing a comparison of what those USDA numbers were as well. And so kind of talk about that and kind of the evolution. And it was interesting over the course of harvest how those numbers kind of played out even between the two. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, and as far as some of those benefits?
Well, there's no doubt that this was really born out of kind of the anger we felt at the pro farmer crop tour, and the confusion and the tension that came up in the in just about, Steve, I think you were on the eastern side, I was on the western side, as we were meeting nightly, and there was just confusion in why the numbers could be so far off. And I think that relates back to, we had a difficult spring last year, right? It was tricky. There was a ton of replant that happened. There was a ton of stuff that got in late, and the market was having a hard time identifying what had really happened. And you can only do so much from imagery. And for the most part, the USDA still relies on samples, whether it be people driving around and making their estimates in the county, or whether it be mail-in samples. The survey methods used by the USDA haven't modernized much at all. And I mean, if you look back just 10 years in just about any other industry, the way we do surveys is dramatically different than the way it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But I don't see that modernization yet occurring with these reports that we're doing now. I know that everyone's trying to get better, but we saw that kind of frustration in the marketplace, and we looked at what we were doing, and it had always been kind of an idea of ours in the back of our mind that someday, maybe if we got enough data, we could aggregate this stuff and create a product that would be farmer sourced. You know, we talk about crowdsourcing. This is farmer sourced data from their machines. It's science worthy, it's machine readable, and that allows you to combine it to create a product like this. And, you know, we gave it a quick go last year, like Jeff said, but I think we've really refined it in our presentation layer and in our ability to get a larger and larger user base that just makes it more and more representative of what's happening in the markets. And I think it's a real benefit to our users to be able to see this, because I've been in the grain business for 20 years before starting this company, and farmers like to sell some grain after they get it in the ground. It's a normal occurrence for them to feel like one big risk factor is out of the way, therefore it's okay for me to sell a percentage of my crop. And I think this year, if you look at this year's markets in both corn and beans, since March 2nd, you know, we're off 70 cents in corn, we're off, you know, roughly 70 cents in beans. And that's a result of nearly a perfect growing season thus far in most of the major growing regions. And so when the USDA is updating their numbers once a week, you know, we wait until that report comes out. It came out yesterday, and then we look at it, and the market kind of quickly tries to adjust, and then we wait for another week to get any sort of, you know, meaningful market information. And we can be providing that on a daily basis. That's going to give those growers a little more confidence, because when I'm a grower, I'm getting the corn in the ground, and I'm looking at my neighbors, and that's about it. Maybe talking to a few friends a little bit further away, but it's, you know, we're all kind of guessing. And when I can look on a website, you know, and have this be one of the services and one of the pieces of value that Farmobile bring to the table, and I can see, you know, the guys in Missouri are getting it in the ground. The guys in Minnesota are surprising the heck out of all of us and getting that crop in the ground real quick. Illinois is making good progress. Iowa's making good progress. Suddenly, I'm going to feel a little bit better about making that call to my grain buyer and telling him I'm ready to market a little bit. But if you wait until that, you know, that data comes out like yesterday and you call today, it's too late. The markets have already reacted to it. So anything we can do to make a grower feel a little bit more confident in the decisions that they choose to make from a marketing perspective is just another point of value that Farmobile can bring to the table for you.
So the question for you, Jeff, then is that, you know, obviously this was a rollout, kind of a initial test last fall. How much does the Farmobile Index cost users?
As we go through, I mean, we're offering this out to our Farmobile subscribers. So folks that are running a current Farmobile puck, so it's not just an individual who's receiving the data on the other end, but they're also contributing as well too. So as Jason mentioned, with it being grower sourced, it's no additional cost on top of your subscription. So it's not a a la carte additional add-on or anything like that. It's a part of your subscription. So once users are running their Farmobile puck, they're probably already familiar with the data engine, logging in, navigating around either through the web or through their iOS mobile app. And once they log in, then they'll be able to start seeing the Farmobile Index in their menu screen. So they'll be able to start seeing it right away today. So it's live. And as far as the states go, as we're continuing to add on additional states to make sure we have enough data presented to keep it anonymized as well too, as a part of our process. But it's a part of the subscription, another value add for being a Farmobile subscriber.
What do you think we may even see come harvest?
I think we have seen some buying from China come back into the market for both the 1920 and the 2021 season, specifically on beans, and that's going to be helpful. Mainly the slowdown ethanol from a corn perspective is going to be challenging with oil so cheap. If the ethanol plants aren't running, that's probably roughly 40 plus or minus a few % of our crop growing, into fuel. And so if that market is not there and the ethanol plants are not running, it's going to be a tricky market to get this thing timed correctly without some other demand coming in from somewhere. So look, it's going to be a tough year, and there's been a couple of these tough years in a row now for the U.S. grower, which is why I think it's never been more important to be keeping accurate records about the decisions you're making and the investments that you're making to protect yield, whether it be from a fungicide application or whether it be from some other crop protection application. And farmers are really good at doing experiments in their own fields. They aren't as good at really measuring how well those experiments did. And that's one thing that having a puck subscription and a device on your equipment, it really does allow you to start to identify what products are working on your fields, on your soil types and your equipment. What are you seeing a result in? And you're not just relying upon, the information that's done in test plots. And test plots are a highly controlled environment. They're almost like a greenhouse. And so how does that really play out in your field is an important piece. Unless you're collecting your own data, it's really hard for you to know which investments are worth you trying again and which ones are you better off waiting on.
So the question is, Jeff, how, if you're not on Farmobile today, if you're just kind of hearing this or want to know more specifically even about the Farmobile Index, how do farmers get that?
You can always go to farmobile.com, FARMOBILE.com. Give us a call, 844-337-2255. If you meet with the support team, which is our team, or if you go to the sales team, we'll both be able to get you taken care of on what you're looking for.
So just to be clear, and Jeff, you'd like to clarify, as becoming a customer or even for existing customers, that index is posted and updated on a regular basis on the Farmobile dashboard that comes along with the obviously the subscription to the puck device. And so that's just as simple as just logging on to that farmobile.com once you have that subscription, correct?
Yes, absolutely, to the Farmobile data engine platform. Yep.
And it's important to note that it's exclusively available to our Farmobile growers. We don't want you tweeting it. We think this is an advantage that you should take advantage of and use yourself. So we heavily encourage that.
So Jason, is there anything else just as kind of a wrap?
Really impressed with our ability to predict, what next week is going to look like in the states where we have, the most density. And so, I would say that in Kansas, Missouri, and Minnesota right now, we've got a pretty decent representation of the market, and it's only going to get better as we add more and more subscribers. I would like to get more in Iowa and Illinois because I think those are places where there's quite a bit of crop there, and we want to be able to continue to provide a really beneficial index product to the market. And it's absolutely the case that the more pucks that we have running out there, the better and more accurate and more you can begin to really trust what you're seeing on your screen.
Well, guys, appreciate it. And for now, that's a wrap. And we want to, and if you're a grower out there wanting to join that Farmobile Index and join that Farmobile Orange team, certainly come aboard. Give Jeff and his team a call there and become a data subscriber. And so, Jeff, Jason, thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.